All right, before we kind of like lose track of them and they disappear and dissipate into the ether, I did want to talk about a couple of other things today, not directly related to Joe Biden dropping out, sort of ancillary stories. There is I don't know if it's growing, but it's definitely there. There's a contingent of the Republican Party that's pushing Trump shooting conspiracy theories. Now, I'm not talking about random YouTubers or Twitch streams or TikTok videos where they are, zooming in on a series of pixels and telling you that it's this, that, or the other thing, and you kind of can't tell. I'm talking about actual Republicans. Here is one example. Here's Senator Ron Johnson yesterday appearing on Fox News' propaganda program hosted by Maria Bartiromo, where he brings up the idea of a second shooter conspiracy, which you might remember in Sanesville, in the world of rationality and reality. The idea of was there one shooter or were there two shooters lasted about 5 seconds. And very clearly we figured out there was one shooter. Here's Ron Johnson saying he saw some videos on the internet that were pretty damn compelling.
Was it one rifle? Was it more than one? I've seen some pretty interesting video on the internet by experts that certainly calls into question what the FBI is telling us about a single shooter. Again, we're only just beginning this, but it is so important that people who saw things, that have information, they preserve it, they memorialize what they saw, because memories change over time. They can be influenced. So it's good news. On a bipartisan basis, Chairman Blumenthal and I are dedicated to taking transcribed interviews with law enforcement and public, just members of the general public that were at that rally. No matter how insignificant your piece of information might be, it might lend to provide the full story of what happened, because the American public needs to understand what happened here.
Yeah. And of course, he's completely right about if you did see something, you should be interviewed. There should be a record of it. No question there. But opening by saying, I saw some pretty compelling expert videos online about two shooters. And then Maria Bartiromo tries to clarify this. Of course, those videos have been spread relatively irresponsibly in terms of the claims that are attached to them. Nothing wrong with putting out the video, obviously, but the claims that are being made strongly and definitively are claims that have been debunked at this point in time. But Maria Bartiromo asks about it.
So are you questioning whether or not there was a second shooter? Is that what you're questioning? Or if the shooter had a different gun?
I saw an extremely convincing video online. I know it's all over the place. there were 3 distinct shots early on.
The video is not convincing, but I encourage you to go look at it.
Followed by another 5 in more staccato, more rapidly fired, and then the final one, which we believe took the shooter out. How do you explain that? I don't know. I'm not an expert. But the individual putting that video out says it clearly shows that there were at least 3 different weapons fired that day. Again, I don't know, but we can't trust the FBI and the Secret Service to do an honest and open and transparent investigation. That's just a very sad fact. So we've got to rely on other sources independent to really find out what the truth of the matter was on Saturday, July 13th.
Now, I will tell you, if you're wondering, with everything going on, Trump survived it, and then the RNC, and all they do is talk about Biden, and then Biden drops out, and then now they've got to run against somebody else, and whoever else they run against is going to be a much better debater than Joe Biden. They're in trouble. Record fundraising in 7 hours for Kamala Harris. In all of this, why would second shooter conspiracies be relevant? Let me pause and let you think of an answer. No, I won't actually pause, since you could pause the podcast, presumably. The reason is they don't want this to simply be left as a Republican went and tried to shoot the Republican nominee. And that's kind of the whole story, because that doesn't really let you blame the left. Now, they're blaming the left anyway. Don't be confused. They're still trying to blame the left. And I'll give you an example of that in a moment from one of Donald Trump's children. But they could much more readily at least lie that this was caused by left-wingers if they can introduce confusion or plausibility about an additional shooter, an additional gun, a conspiracy, maybe even involving Joe Biden or the FBI or Secret Service or whatever. So that's their reason for doing this. We don't have any convincing video that suggests anything about second shooters, and all of the so-called experts have been debunked. And some of those experts aren't even really experts. I saw there was a Republican congressman, I think Corey Mills, going around. Rather than being introduced in some clips or presented in some clips about his interview as a Republican congressman, he was introduced as like a weapons expert or something like that. Now, he may know about weapons, but you have to see this through the prism of he is a partisan political actor that doesn't want it to be as simple as a Republican did it. That's not good for them.